Welcome to a lovely, crisp November Cadwell Park for round 2 of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship. We've got record crowds, we've got a fantastic entry, and what a fight we've got to look forward to if round 1 is anything to go by, Sam.
I know, I mean, saying at round 1, after the entry filled up so quickly, this championship now is definitely the one to watch. It is so exciting, definitely the most exciting in the UK. So, yeah, we're good to go. Very exciting.
So round 2, 8 stages, and we go into the dark, we get the spotlights on, and we have another big finale here at Cadwell Park. Let's get out on those stages and see some action. So Ian Woodhouse leads the crews away, joined on the entry here in the Lincolnshire Wolds at round 2 by David Tin. Previous winner here, of course. He certainly doesn't come to make up the numbers, and neither does this man. Chris West comes here with a strong position in the championship's early stages. On to those stages then, and the early lead would belong to this man, Peter Stevenson, with Patrick Walsh alongside. Bringing out that ex-Juha Kankinen works Impreza WRC for a run this weekend. Things clearly going well, the spectators loving the show of this car. The lead at the top would only be a small one though. Chris West and Keith Hounslow taking up second place for now. Only 2 seconds back from the lead in that enigmatic 306 Maxi. Joshua and Tamsin Davey went well on the opening round, and this weekend was looking like no exception. Third place for now, even if they did come back into service with a fence post sticking out of the windscreen, having to complete the rest of the rally with a big patch in the middle of the screen on that Darien. For Ian Woodhouse and Jason Leaf, it will be 4th place to start the day. Just like everyone above them, the gap would be small. 2 seconds to be exact. Things were close right from the start. David and Alice Tin sadly didn't seem to be getting off to the start that they would have wanted, or the one that they came for. Certainly not far off it though. 7 seconds off the lead to be exact, but 5th place for now would be spurring them on for a push through the next stages. John Stone and Jack Morton reached the end of the second stage with 6th place overall. The gap was opening up a little to Tin up ahead, but Stone was still only 4 seconds behind after these 2 stages. And it has to be said, it was going better than Stone's last trip to Cadwell Park. For Mark Kelly and Andy Baker, it will be 7th place overall. They were just 3 seconds behind Stone for the overall results and lying 3rd in their class at this stage as well. Graham Bell and Russ Radford put in some good times through the morning stages to end stage 2 with 8th place overall. There would still be more to come from the pair though, with 6 stages still left to complete. John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton were getting in on the action in Class 6 and on the overall results as well, lying just inside the top 10 at this stage in 9th. And rounding out our top 10 would be Stephen and Jack Tilburn. They do lose a little time on the second stage of the day, which drops them down the leaderboard a little. Let's take a look at some of the classes outside of the top 10 then. It will be 2nd place in Class 4 at this stage for Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington. Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay would lead the way in Class 3 after the morning stages. Paul back in the driving seat himself for this round and getting straight back into the groove. Mark and John Burton return to the championship for round 2 in the Fiesta. A fresh livery, and that would not be all underneath a heavy winter working on the car and getting it ready. They'd be lying 2nd in the class at this stage as well, ready to push a little more through the next loop of stages. David McMullen and Mark Melhush get the early advantage in Class 2. The Nova pair leading the way there, but only by a very small margin. And that lead would be over this pair, Aaron Ricks and Rob Cook. 2nd in the class, only a single second back from the leaders after 2 stages. And there'd be just 1 crew in Class 1 this weekend, so it would be the lead there for Alex and Mark Tentori. The attrition would bite early. There would be some casualties for some, one of which being championship regulars now, Sam and Liam Johnson, retiring in stage 2 with gearbox problems. So 2 stages complete here in Lincolnshire. The results at the top look like this. But with the times so close, it could be anyone's rally this weekend. On to the next loop of stages then, and there'd be all change in the results. Chris West and Keith Hounslow make a move up to take the lead of the rally now. 6 seconds of an advantage in that front-wheel drive Maxi. Chris, fighting at the front, you're making a habit of this.
Yeah, trying to. We didn't get off to the best start. It was very slippy in the morning, and the Subaru and all the four-wheel drive stuff was obviously getting a bit out of us, but we're pushing on quite a bit now, and I think the last stage we were leading. I'm not sure where we are now, but I'm certainly up there and enjoying it, so it's great.
So what for our early leaders, Peter Stevenson and Patrick Walsh? Well, it will be second place. The pair not quite able to hold on to that lead into the lunchtime break, but they were still putting in some good times.
Peter, what a start for you, leading after the first two.
Yeah, but not after the third one, I'm afraid. We got caught the car in front and lost a bit of time. Same on that one, but don't know where we are now.
Joshua and Tamsin Davey would still be suffering with that limited visibility in the Darien, but it wasn't stopping them putting the times in, lying in third place for now and on an identical time to Stevenson.
Josh, you were the fastest stage time on stage 3 apparently, so you're having a good day?
Yeah, getting there. We had a bit of an incident this morning with a fence that come through the screen, but no, we're getting there.
No change in fourth either. The hard-charging Ian Woodhouse and Jason Leaf continuing to hold that position in the results. 5 seconds back from Davey. Was that championship title defence on now?
That's more like it, Ian.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying today. I was a bit poorly this morning. I was throwing up this morning, but yeah, I've overcome that and we're pushing on.
Local pairing David and Alice Tin were trying everything to gain some time back in this loop. Tyres were something they'd need to focus their attention on, clearly. They were still within reach of the top of the leaderboard, but they were not having an easy run so far.
David, you're certainly in the fight, not quite the start you were after.
No. Tried to get through on some bald tyres, hasn't worked, so I've had to buy some, put full tyres on it, so hopefully we'll pull it back this afternoon, but I've got no clutch. So if we spin, I'm knackered.
John Stone and Jack Morton would be happy to keep hold of their 6th place at this stage. They had a 7-second advantage in that position, which meant no backing off. And with only 5 seconds to turn up ahead, they certainly need to be pushing to gain a place or two through the afternoon.
John Stone, another man looking good today. Happy?
Yeah, pretty good. Bit of a slow start this morning, but we're on it now, Paul.
No change, meanwhile, for Mark Kelly and Andy Baker in these stages. Apart from the gaps either side growing ever so slightly, they remain in 7th place overall, consolidating that place with 3rd in their class.
Mark, that was a good start for you.
Yeah, we're going okay. It's effectively our first time here, so we spent the first couple of stages getting used to it. We're not quite there though, we're just a bit off the pace, sort of 4 or 5 seconds a stage, so I don't know, I'm hoping it can come in on this afternoon and we can pick it up a bit, but we can't go any quicker. But I don't feel like we can anyway, so we'll see, we'll keep trying.
Graham Bell and Russ Radford would still be the ones chasing Kelly down. 8th place on the overall results and 4th in the class for the Proton pair.
What a fight from you guys today, Battle of the Protons.
Yeah, but I can't keep with Mr. Tin. We were trying new tyres this morning, which were pretty good, but we got held up on stage 3 by Craig, but given his due, he pulled by and let us by on the last stage. So, yeah, it's tight. It's tight.
Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington gain a bit of time through this pair of stages, moving up the leaderboard to end the morning with 9th place overall, 2nd in the class.
Apparently it was a bit slippy on the first stage, but it's kind of perfect now.
Yeah, we've got some good tyres on it now, so it's working better, yeah. They were just sort of, because we were running a wet first thing, obviously drying out, the tyres were going over a bit, so got some decent stuff on it now and it's hooking up and doing what it should do, so yeah, very good.
And rounding out the top 10 were John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton, slipping back a place in these stages, but only by 2 seconds.
The pace is hot out there today, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing really well. We're moving up nicely into 8th place and some good times. We had a rookie mistake there. I spun onto the grass and we just took it. Seemed forever to get going, so it's cost us a little bit, but hey, there's a few more stages to go yet.
Taking a look then at the classes outside of the top 10, and it would be 4th in class 5 for Stephen and Jack Tilburn. They slipped down to take 11th place overall at this stage as well. Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones would end this loop just behind Tilburn. 5th place in the class, 12th overall for the pair, struggling with grip today and not managing to get the tyre choice right. Perhaps a trip to Michelin would benefit them for the afternoon stages. For Dane Walker and Dave Boyce, it would be 3rd place in class 3 at the midpoint in the rally. They'd be slowly moving the right way up the leaderboard as the morning went on. Ben and Steve Smith, meanwhile, would lose a place in the class and overall leaderboard, ending the morning with 4th place in Class 4, 15th place overall. For the ever sideways Mike English and Andy Robinson, it will be 5th place in Class 3 now, moving the right way on the leaderboard into 18th overall. And there's no change to the lead in Class 3. Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay continuing to lead the way there from 23rd position. There would be some change, though, on the overall results for David McMullen and Mark Melhouche, but not to the class. They still lead the way in Class 2, lying in 32nd place overall. For Paul Stevenson and Dave Roberts, it will be 2nd place in Class 3, gaining a place in the class now, even though they were dropping slightly overall to 35th. And after retirement on the first round of the series, it will be a much better start for Ken Sturdy and Richard Wood, another local Cadwell crew from Hull. They reached the end of the morning stages with 3rd place in the class in that Swift. Times in that class as well will be close. Andy Evans and Nev Bowles taking up 4th in the class at this stage, just 10 seconds back from the IT at Spectrum crew. And 5th in that class would belong to this man, Tony Reid, with Helen Russell alongside. A little way back from the pack ahead and overall, but still putting in some good times. Somewhat dramatically, we lose Aaron Ricks and Rob Cook when they clip a tyre and roll the car. The crew okay, but the pressure would now be on to get the car ready for the next round in a few weeks' time. So that drama, of course, means it's all change in Class 2. Lying 2nd in the class at this stage then will be Andrew Chandler and Linda Ashman, stepping up to take that place with 49th overall. For Patrick Homan and Dane Chapman, it will be 3rd in the class with this reshuffle. Times were closer the further away we got from the lead in the class as well, with Homan just 6 seconds back from that 2nd place. And for Dale and Andrew Lawson, it will be 4th in the class, a little further back in 54th place overall. Hartley Durst and Paul Gallagher will be a further 30 seconds back in 5th place in the class, 59th place overall in the Fiat Punto. So with 4 stages complete and 4 stages remaining, it would be change at the top, but the times would still be close enough to change all over again at any time soon. On to the next few stages then, and there will be no change for our rally leaders. Chris West and Keith Hounslow maintaining the pace at the front, managing to hold that position going into the final stages of the rally. They'd be changed to 2nd place now, though. David and Alice Tin had started to get their event back on track here at the North Humberside stages with new tyres, moving up to take that 2nd place overall, just 2 seconds behind the lead. There wouldn't though be any change for Joshua and Tamsin Davey, continuing to hold the final step on the podium for now. 3rd place overall, the lead in Class 4. And indeed, it was a similar story for Ian Woodhouse and Jason Leaf. They remain in 4th place as well as 2nd in Class 5 at this stage. Frustratingly for Peter Stevenson and Patrick Walsh, it will be a slip a little further down the results. They take up 5th place for now, still within 11 seconds of that lead though. And John Stone and Jack Morton wouldn't change their positions in this pair of stages, remaining in 6th place overall, 3rd in the class and still in the hunt. Mark Kelly and Andy Baker would still be the closest to Stone at this stage, dropping a few seconds to the Fiesta in these 2 stages, but keeping hold of that 7th place overall. In Proton number 2, Graham Bell and Russ Radford don't manage any more of a climb back up the results at this stage, still holding onto 8th place on the leaderboard for them. For the sideways Subaru of John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton though, it will be a small step back up to 9th. The times were still good and the pair continue to hold 5th in Class 6 as well. And rounding out the top 10 will be Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington, 2nd place in Class 4 at this stage for the pair. It's more of the same as well, which is good news for Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay. They continue to lead the way in Class 3, indeed having a good advantage in that place as well. In fact, the closest to them in that class will be Ken Sturdy and Richard Wood, a minute back from the lead though, in 31st on the overall leaderboard. The top of Class 2 didn't look like changing though. David McMullen and Mark Melhouche continuing to hold on to that class lead, and with just the remaining 2 stages between them and that class victory. 2nd in that class will be Patrick Homan and Dane Chapman. They didn't look like they'd be challenging the leaders, but they were still going to have to watch out behind them. And once again, no change for Alex and Mark Tentori. A consistent and strong performance. All they had to do now was get to the finish for that class victory. So with just the final 2 stages remaining here at Cadwell Park and the dark on its way, it's a gap of only 2 seconds going into the dramatic, spotlight-lit final miles of the event. But which way would that fight go? On to the final stages then, and for Craig Aston and Nick Baker, it will be 5th place in Class 2 at the end of the rally. A slightly slower start, but getting some good times in by the end of the event. Alex and Mark Tentori do indeed reach the end of the rally in one piece, and with it, they take the Class 1 trophy as well as 55th overall. For Dale and Andrew Lawson, it will be 4th place in Class 2 at the end of the rally, 52nd on the leaderboard. Patrick Homan and Dane Chapman, though, couldn't hold on to their position in the class. Instead, they'd have to settle for 3rd. A good result, though, still, and the times were indeed close. Homan losing that class position to this man, Andrew Chandler. Linda Ashman alongside, taking 2nd in the class by just 5 seconds by the end of the rally. Subaru pairing Philip Megginson and Paul Turner would reach the end of the rally in one piece, although it wasn't without its problems, the most notable being Paul throwing up towards the end of the day. It was only his 2nd event though, so perhaps it could be excused. It was also his local rally, perhaps that can't be. For Paul Stevenson and Dave Roberts, it will be 5th place in Class 3 at the end of the rally, dropping back a few places in the class and lying in 39th overall. Things would remain the same, meanwhile, for Andy Evans and Nev Bowles in the final stages, maintaining their 38th place overall and their 4th place in class. For Tony Reid and Helen Russell, it will be 3rd place in Class 3 to end the event, finishing just a single second above Evans. And things had gone right for David McMullen and Mark Mulhouse this weekend, reaching the end of the rally, still holding on to that class lead to take the Class 2 victory by the finish. For Ken Sturdy and Richard Wood, it will be a welcomed 2nd placing class finish to the event. A good way to put their retirement from round 1 behind them. It's a great start to the season for Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay. Paul's son George was competing on the junior event the day before as well. They reached the end of the rally with the Class 3 victory after holding on to that lead all day long. Mike English and Andy Robinson end the rally with 5th place in Class 4, as well as 18th place overall. And for Ben and Steve Smith, it will be 4th in the class. They'd got away with a spin earlier on in the stage, but thankfully it didn't cause them any problems. Dane Walker and Dave Boys, meanwhile, managed to get to the end of the rally with 3rd place in Class 4. Just 21 seconds, though, ahead of Smith at the finish. Stephen and Jack Tilburn would end the rally with 5th in Class 5. A good end to the rally, but not quite as high as they'd been at times this weekend. The tyre issue didn't seem to have got much better for Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones, reaching the end of the rally with 4th place in the class and only 12th place overall, completely out of character for the Blue Escort. Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington round out the top 10 overall at the end of the rally, taking 2nd place in Class 4 as well for their efforts. And 9th place would be as high as John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton could reach today. A good result for the pair still, though, and taking 5th place in the class. Graham Bell and Russ Radford would finish just ahead of Griffiths on the overall and class results. 31 seconds ahead to be exact, and taking 8th place on the leaderboard with that finish. Although there wouldn't be any more advance back up the leaderboard for Peter Stevenson and Patrick Walsh, they'd certainly stolen a fair amount of attention with that start early on. They do take 7th place overall, 3rd in the class after a good showing in that X-Works car. John Stone and Jack Morton reached the end of the rally with 2nd place in the class, as well as 6th overall in the Fiesta. Mark Kelly and Andy Baker managed to gain a few places overall, taking 3rd in the class, as well as jumping up to 5th place in the overall times as well. A good start to the championship for the pair, but they'd need an even stronger finish to keep hold of that title fight going into round 3 at Knock Hill. After such a good start, Joshua and Tamsin Davey don't quite manage to hold on to that podium position, slipping back slightly to end the rally with 4th overall. Still taking, though, the Class 4 victory with that finish. And the change to that podium place would certainly mean it was title defence mode switched on For Ian Woodhouse, Jason Leaf alongside for this event, the pair back together and taking third overall now, second in their class. There's frustration for Chris West and Keith Hounslow. It's changed for them as well. After such a strong showing out there controlling the pace, they miss out on victory by just 2 seconds, settling for second place. A few problems in the final stages for the 306 Maxi Pen, not helping their times. But that does mean it's victory here once again for David and Alice Tin. A slow start was turned around and the pair managed to take victory after such a close fight all the way through the leaderboard all day long. So confirmation then of the final results at the end of a spectacular second round of the championship here at Cadwell Park. And yes, I would say that. The second place for West was going to put them in a good position going into the third round of the championship at Knock Hill, which surely, given the action in the first 2 rounds, was an event not to be missed.
So often in motorsport, someone runs away from it at the beginning and you kind of know what the result will be. Today we had no idea. You overturned that result today.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, going into stage 4, I didn't think we would pull it off today. I was like 4th or 5th, and we put some new tyres on basically, and that's a bit embarrassing because that's what I do for a living, Paul. So we put the tyres on, the cars come to us, and you know, as you've seen, we've pulled it all the way back and managed to scrape the win through over the moon to have my daughter back in the car from Australia, and we've just had a fantastic day, wonderful day again.
Alice, the spectators out there have loved it. It must have been pretty exciting in the car as well, because as I said earlier, you just didn't know what was going to happen today.
Yeah, no, not at all. Absolutely loved it. I think the last time we were in the car was here and we won probably a year and a half ago, so yeah, to come back and win again is great.
Chris, Keith, what a show you put on for us today. You certainly have got to grips with that thing. 2 wins last year and it's given you the fire.
Yeah, no, it's really good. We didn't get off to the best start. I made a bit of a wrong tyre choice on the first stage and we lost a little bit of time, although we were still quite quick. Unfortunately, this afternoon we were going really well. We had a problem with a rear wheel bearing, which made us lose at least 5 seconds because we spent half the time on the grass because I had a spin. And unfortunately, then we had a misfire, which we found out to be a crank sensor on stage 7. So we have lost a bit of time, but I was hoping we could crawl it back and try and match Dave Tin, but we didn't. It was very close to the end, but yeah, really enjoyed it and it's been a great rally.
Keith, is there ever a correct tyre choice for the first stage in the November rally in Cadwell Park?
It's very difficult, but I don't think we were far away. You know, and Chris has driven the door handles off it again today. We've done all we can. You know, it's not like for like here. You know, we're really trying hard in this, and he's done really well. You know, really well.
This to me looks like a title challenge.
Yeah, I'm going to certainly have a go. I'm not sure whether we're going to do Knock Hill yet or not. It's a very long way for us to go. It's 7.5 hours driving.
Not if you drive like you did today.
Well, yeah, but I won't have a licence for very long, I don't think. But we're going to go home and think about it now. Obviously, we've got a good result on the first 2. We may drop Knock Hill and carry on for the rest. But yeah, I'm in the championship to try and win. So we're going to keep going till the end.
You're in the hunt after today. Well done, guys.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Ian, Jason, back together again. And after what was a pretty hotly paced rally out there, looks like a dream team.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful day. It was a bit shocking at the beginning. I was throwing up this morning. Didn't really know if I wanted to compete or not, but got stuck in there and I'm glad I did, to be honest.
I'm not sure I would have got in the car with him after that.
It's been a pleasure all day, really has, really enjoyed it. Like I say, back with this young man, sat in with him on his first rally, 17-year-old, he's maturing into a first-class driver, he really is. So
I'm not sure about the maturing, but the first-class driver is definitely there. He is our reigning champ, it is a title defence that you're staring at this year. Happy with how it's going?
Yeah, it's Knock Hill next, which is a brand new circuit for, I would have thought, all of us here. So that'll be a good tester for everyone, but yeah, it's going good. That Peugeot's rocking on a bit but we'll try and catch him next time.
Well, it was a pretty easy one to call, but we did call it. That was exciting.
Oh, that was so exciting. I mean, every single stage there has been a different top 5. It has been awesome. I think I'm more excited about this round than the first round, and I was quite excited about the first round.
Yeah. And what a turnaround by local crew David and Alice Tin. They came here for victory and they took it, but our reigning champion has got his title defence on track, I think it's fair to say, and Chris West looks a dead cert for fighting right through this season.
Oh, that has been an amazing one for Chris West. That is definitely getting him on track for the championship. I'm pretty sure it was him that's just covered me in champagne as well. So.
You smell lovely. Well, there's nothing for me better than rallying at Cadwell, and I think you'll agree that the spectacle today was every bit we've been talking about on the lead up to this exciting event. Next up, it's round 3 at Knock Hill. You'll be there, more live stream.
I'll be there, I will indeed. I know you're leaving me. He's leaving me.
I'll be there in spirit and in voice. We'll see you at the next round here on Special Stage. Thank you for watching the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship.